Alright, let's see how well this chatter selection thing works here. You go type a message in chat. Ping everything. Alright, so Nightbot is 1310 1310. Enter. Confirm Nightbot. Cancel. 1301. Enter. Oops, I made a mistake. 1301. Enter. Timeout. Timed out by hotkey number 4. Wait. Did I mistype that? One, three, one. I entered 1301, I guess, instead of. Huh. Alright. So let's try again. One, 301. Enter. 1301 has definitely been selected. We're going to be pressing 1. Timeout selection, hotkey B. Real quick. 1301. Enter. Undo. Okay. Let's see. Let me see here now. 1310. Enter. Nightbot selected. 4 for ban. Nightbot banned. Let's undo that. One, 310. Enter. Cancel. Alright. Let's pick on Streamerbot. 1312. Enter. Chatter number 1312. Action. The only one I haven't used is 2, right? 1 hour timeout. Okay. 1312. Enter. Undo. Alright. No more trying to move our mouse around for me here. So just see. 1333. Enter. Debug chatter 1333. That is who? It's not up here. Cancel. Okay. 1, 3, 3, 3. Enter. at Streamerbot. Cancel. See. 1, 3, 0, 3, enter. I picked 1302. Alright, this seems to be working now. Great. So I'm just gonna go over what I have in the setup real quick for this macro thing. It's a NUI 12 key keyboard, macro keyboard. And on the software's device, I simply mapped the buttons to Shift, Control, Alt, F13, F14, F15, F16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. F keys that go unused on this machine's keyboard anyways. It has no such physical keys, so those would be buttons I would not be using for something else. So then I went into this program for multi-keyboard macros, and I set shortcut keys. For this particular macro set, I bound. So I have these standard keys which I use for all macro sets, and then I have the specific ones, F16 through F21. Those are the bottom keys. And I map them to Control F16, Control F17, Control F18, Control F19, Control F20, and Control F21. And I did that because this bot software, Streamerbot, cannot handle unmodified function keys as hotkeys for some odd reason. So I went into here. This is Streamerbot. And let me just take a look at it. And the first thing I did was I went into define an action called buffer chatter. I said always run even when queue is paused, exclude from action queues, all that stuff. Get a global variable named cstamp counter. It started off at 0, increment it by 1 for each chat message, and then execute some custom C# code. So I'm going through every time someone sends a chat message, and I'm stamping that message with a code number. And that code number has only 4 digits, 0, 1, 2, or 3. So it's a base 4 number. So I wrote C# code here to handle that. Yes, we'll create a dictionary and save the stamp counter and the stamp dictionary in a global variable within Streamer.bot. And we will write that dictionary to a file called stampusers.js. And that is all that bit is meant to do. So I go here, and I'm saving it to stampusers.js. And that has the ID numbers, but I've truncated it to 255 IDs. So every 255 chat messages it will wrap. And the old IDs would be reused at that point. Then, went into Notepad and write an HTML file called stampusers.html, and it just displays the most recent 10 or so, maximum one message per user. So that just displays them. So then we went to OBS, and I defined a custom browser doc, point it to that file with the chatter's ID numbers. And what that does is it means that the recent chatters will always have their IDs shown in OBS. This page refreshes every 1 second. So that handles the display of the IDs so we know what they are. Then the last piece was I needed to create hotkey definitions to digest the keystrokes on the macro keyboard to let me type the ID of a chatter. And that one starts off at this buffer add one action. So it would be custom C# code again. And each key press adds to the buffer according to the rules in the script, with the number 5, the F button being cancel, and the E button, the last button being enter, and the second to last button from the right being cancel. So and everything else, all these are just actions called by that one. But the individual keystrokes would be handled by these. Buffer A is triggered on the hotkey. It plays a sound specific to that key. Then it sets the add code to 0, which is this. A is the 0 button, and it calls buffer add 1. And B does the same, but it's set to 1 and then calls buffer add 1. C sets to 2. So these all handle, each one of these is a trigger that handles the hotkey, and they all execute the buffer add 1 action with a different value in this one variable, the code to add to the end of the list. Finally, buffer add 1 determines what has been entered, and when it is ready, it either decides to cancel or complete. If it completes, it goes and calls UA buffer ready, which has no triggers. It's only called by that buffer add 1. It plays the sound to indicate ready. It sends the debug message to Twitch that we've selected a chatter. It shows the notification on our screen so we know which chatter is selected. And now at this point we'll be in mode 1. So when the enter key is reached, the procedure has a variable called buffer mode, which will set to 1. and it will execute an action defined by the next key that's pressed from these 6. There's a 20-second time limit to enter the chatter ID, but once they're entered, that final key press can be 2 hours away. It doesn't matter. Okay. So the very next action button will be selecting one of these based on whichever of the 6 buttons are pressed. Suppose we push 0 for timeout. It applies the timeout to the target and plays the sound. And that is the current state of how these things are pieced together in the script. Alright, moving on.